Uh.
You're welcome. I had to.
It worked for me.
Yeah, I feel like drinking gin and juice in the hood in my 6'4". I mean,
That was the GTA San Andreas theme song.
Okay. So now we're gonna get a copyright strike.
No, they don't enforce it.
Nah, it'll be fine.
They don't, because if they did, everyone that streams GTA San Andreas would get their stream taken down.
It's legal on a state level, but not a federal level, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough. So if you're listening to this across Colorado state lines, the feds are coming. So there they are.
I see a van outside.
Oh, I was brushing the cat. I don't know if it was brushing the cat or changing my HVAC filter a year later today, but something has my sinuses all tore up. So
Sinus issues. I just got a COVID test today. I'm getting a little something.
You've had a lot of COVID tests recently, it seems like.
Well, I don't want to go, on vacation and have COVID.
Fair enough. Where are you going on vacation?
I am going very far away.
I doubt that. Where are you going?
I doubt that. You're wrong. You're not doing that. Tell me where you're going.
Where are you going?
Is it going to involve the yellow brick road, some little people, and maybe a lion, a tin man, some flying monkeys?
Doug, stop. I can only get so erect.
So anyway, Mountain Dew Livewire is good. Code Red's good. The new Coca-Cola
Code Red
experiments are good.
Code Red was good. I liked Code Red. And I liked Baja Blast too.
The KFC Mountain Dew is good.
The peach. I don't know what that is.
They have like a peach flavor that's really good.
For those of you that are wondering, no, you didn't really miss anything. We were just discussing this before we hit record. So all the different flavors that Mountain Dew has, and Adam got very animated.
I didn't mean to click it again.
Worried that just have it play in the background.
Okay, we're done. 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Peace. We're out.
That's what she said.
She said, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that.
Exactly.
I mean, same, but damn. Not really a joke.
It's like, I got mine. Well, thanks.
Oh, God, he's crying again.
It's funny. No, it's really funny.
Yes.
It's funny. I promise I'm laughing.
You were laughing. That's why I asked.
What was funny? She took the kids.
She took the kids. Well. Oh, well. Good for you.
I was about to say, are we gonna lose a pickup truck? Is this gonna turn into a country song?
Yeah, my country career is about to get started. All right.
I would listen to that. I would listen to you doing country. You should do
I could probably do it.
We could do one of country raps like
Colt Ford.
Yeah.
The Lax. Who else does that shit?
Or you could wax your butthole. It would be about as appealing to me.
Really?
Wow.
I mean,
country rap and waxed buttholes.
Guess we could live stream that. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to see it.
I mean, look, I'm looking for OnlyFans ideas.
If you really want my waxed ass, just let me know. Like when you said, I'm going to wax your ass, I thought you meant you were going to beat me at something, like you were going to win.
No, I meant hot wax and yank your ass hairs out.
Weird ass fetish. Oh, speaking of which, I forgot my my nose wax kit came in, so I can wax my nose hairs this evening. You ever waxed your nose hairs?
Nope, I don't hate myself quite that much.
Well, see, here's the thing. As I get older, we've talked about that before. About you hit your 30s and you get your weird ailment. And one of the things I noticed at about 40 was the weird like second puberty, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, the other hairs from everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. I'm getting
yeah.
shoulder hairs and little back hairs, and I'm not a hairy guy by any means. Um, I'm not like
It
Asian
just
smooth or
happens.
anything, but
Ears,
oh
nose.
yeah, oh the ears, yeah, absolutely. Um, and people, oh, you try the nose trimmers. The nose trimmers don't work for me, man. It's like putting a weed eater into a fucking rose bush. It's just
Oh, they work for me.
yeah. Well, they will at your age. See, they will. The hairs get stronger or meaner or something as you get older, and
The
they
hairs get stronger.
yeah, they really do. So now I just wax the fuck out of them. So it's very gratifying. And yes, I will put some in my ears sometimes too. Um, and get all that shit out of there because I cannot stand ear hairs. Like I've been in meetings before and just kind of your ear will itch and you stick your finger in there and you're like, fuck, I'll find a hair. I can't ignore it. I can't leave it alone. Can't do it. So then you're sitting there trying to be all like casual, like just get in there, get the fucking thing out of it. I'll slip and you're god damn it. So yeah, it's becoming an old man is a motherfucker. I'm not a fan of it. Not a fan
Not a fan.
of old man.
He's not rapidly rotating.
No, I'm not.
Not a fan.
Oscillating.
Yeah.
I have been known to oscillate a time or two. Oh, I'm drinking LaCroix. It's the drink of champions. It's
All I know is yanking out your nose hairs. It's like that just sounds like a form of self-flagellation. That's all I'm
no,
saying.
I mean, I have been known to
Rip
touch
your nose
myself
hair
while I'm
out.
doing it. Like, and get the wax up in there, and I'm like, okay, gotta get ready to pull it. Here we go.
I was about
Oh,
to say,
God.
do you hang the belt up at the same time so you
No, man,
go full torture autoerotic asphyxiation?
I ain't trying to go out like that. That'd be my luck. Y'all would find me fucking dick in hand, fucking
In a
belly
puddle
button
of
full
cum.
of nut and a fucking belt around my neck. I just want you guys to know. I will put this on the record that if I ever came and found either one of you in that situation, I would at least take the belt from around your neck. I mean,
Thank
as
you.
far as the nut in your belly button, that's on
Oh,
you.
if it were you, I'm rearranging the crime scene.
Yeah, oh, he was on the couch watching TV.
No, it's going to be one of
He'd
those
make it
things
worse.
where like all the porn would disappear from your house.
That's a good plan. That's a good
Then he would bring a horse in.
And, like, all the porn disappears from your house, and that what we'll figure out a way to make it look not as bad, but as opposed to masturbating, you were like praying or donating money to kids with cancer. Something.
Okay, hold up. 'Cause here's the thing.
We're gonna have some redeeming shit here somewhere.
I understand and appreciate the effort, but I don't think you're looking at this from a big picture now. I don't know if I want them finding me covered in nut at the computer,
Donating to cancer children.
looking at cancer children pics. Like maybe
Well-
the belt ain't so bad. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we'll get rid of the.
We're gonna clean you up.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
We'll hose you down.
Action.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, he stinks.
It's going to be all about minimizing the damage. You know what I'm
Well, I just want you guys to know I would absolutely do the same. I would probably just take your whole hard drive. Like they'd come in and the hard drive would just be gone. It's just the easiest way to do it. So, because we all know when you say remove porn, we all know where
Take all the
everybody keeps-
magazines out of your room. Is what
Yeah,
it
I
is.
mean, come on. I remember it's funny is that I still remember the first Playboy. It was one of those that had like circulated through school and somebody was just trying to get rid of it, and like I wound up with it. And it was just the coolest fucking thing ever. Yeah, I still remember that.
I
read all
don't
the
remember
articles.
that. Can't say I went through that.
Well, no, porn would have already been online by the time you were.
Yeah, the internet had been up for more than a day. So
Yeah.
yes, porn was
Yeah.
online.
I will say,
Well,
online
porn was
porn used to be a
online.
pain in the ass.
Yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you
I
know,
know.
Watching
it
that.
was
I
like
watched
a
I watched
line,
porn
It
on
was like a
dial-up.
strip
2
show.
lines,
Yeah, it was like a strip
3
show. You'd click the
lines.
picture and it would go down. You're like, oh, she's hot. And it'd go down, be like, oh, titties, titties, titties. Oh, titties. And it'd keep going. Then it would like, refresh or reload or something. Someone would pick up the phone to make a call.
I think I managed, like, by the time I was old enough to like do anything, I think gifts were pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
Even on like 56K, you could
Mm-hmm.
like at least find gifts and stuff. So yeah, I don't think I've ever had physical porn.
Physical wank media.
Yeah, it's all, yeah, just all online.
I
Well,
think my cat knows Adam's online.
Tell her I said what's up. I'll be over there in a second.
Adam said, "Sup, kitty now."
well, just for the record, Adam, porn back in the day, some
Back in
of it
my day.
some of it you bought, some of it you just kind of fucking inherited.
Oh yeah, you
Where
just come across it.
it was a
Yeah.
weird ownership
Just
chain.
come
Where
across porn.
Yeah.
Well, I
where
hope you come away from the porn. If you come across it,
Well,
pages are gonna stick together.
and sometimes they did. Yeah, sometimes they
yeah,
did.
they did.
So you didn't really think about it when you were like, 13 and had a spank mag. You just like flipped that page, and it's like, fuck it.
No, that one's never. I'm never gonna see that page again. It's all glued together now.
I went my whole life never knowing what was between those pages. It haunts me to this day.
I remember for a very short time, like DVD porn was kind of a thing,
Mhm.
but it was like the internet was already kind of there already. So I don't. It was weird. Like I
Yeah,
had
there was a
found some like DVD porn and stuff, but I was like, this all kind of sucks.
Well, I remember VHS. There was a VHS tape that went around like the fucking VHS tape from The Ring. Like people just,
Yo,
they'd
watch
hang
this
on to it.
tape.
Yeah. And then 12 days later, you came out looking like Quagmire with,
With the
left
giant
arm
bicep.
giant. Yeah. And everyone's parents, kind of figured out what was going on. And so you ditched the tape to somebody else. And I had one. Actually, my parents found it. And they fucking called me out to the living room and they throw it on the fucking coffee table. And I was like, oh God, I was like 12 years old, dude. I was
Yeah, yeah.
fucking mortified.
That's hilarious.
My old man's like, maybe we should just pop this in and we should all watch it. And I was like, oh
Hell
God.
yeah. Oh, so yeah, you weren't very far from West Virginia.
No, right?
In Ohio.
Family movie night.
Family movie
I was
night.
telling Doug before you got on, Dan. We were talking about anal and oral.
Were you
he
now?
asked me.
You and Doug were talking about anal and oral, huh?
Well, me and Doug were talking about anal and oral.
I don't remember this.
It was all of 2 minutes ago. I don't expect you to recall all the way back then.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But he was asking me if that's how we got down in the OxyContin capital of the world. And I told him, no, we don't do anal in West Virginia because you don't turn your back on family.
That's funny.
With the oral is very easy. No teeth.
There is that, right?
Yes.
My what is that? Yeah, hold on, I think that's me. Ugh.
That's you.
Yeah, so let's all hold on while Dan does his thing.
Yeah, just whenever, Dan. Just whenever.
We'll
wait.
I'm sure, way back in the day, David Letterman and Johnny Carson used to just get up in the middle of,
Taco Bell.
an interview and walk the fuck
Hang on,
away and
I'll
be
be right
like,
back. I gotta take
hold
a
on,
We get pissed.
got to drop a hot deuce. I'll be back in a minute.
So what I was going to say is that my first ex-wife's mom had false teeth, and you got to understand this family. They were a fucked up family. Her little sister and her older sister both tried to fuck me, and her mom tried to fuck me. And she actually did that. She took her teeth out and was like, I can suck it, And I was just like, because her mom was in no way, shape, or form an attractive woman. But a buddy of mine named Billy actually did wind up fucking her at an A-bait rally, motorcycle rally. And the next day he was telling me that she took her teeth out, right, and sucked him off without her teeth. And he just kept going on and on about it. And I'm over there like, stop, dude, stop. So yeah, people actually do that. So, but we were very close to West Virginia.
You
Right
know
across.
what? I was tracing my lineage back, right? And most of the like Virginia, West Virginia, like residents, like people that live there now, all immigrated from like Britain, which kind of makes sense, right? As far as the teeth thing.
I
Well,
was
we
about
kind
to
of
say, is
all,
the food horrible as well?
No, but they all have. Like, it's just British people have notoriously terrible teeth.
yeah, but the South was the same way. It's really just any poor rural area where they don't have great dental care and great family structure to teach them to, brush their fucking teeth.
Yeah, yeah, this
So
is true. No, 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 Dan. They can't help it.
they can't help it. It's all genetics.
Yeah, it's like
And when your
it's
family
not
tree
their
is a
fault.
fucking stick,
It's
it
not their
makes it
fault that they're on drugs.
that they're on dry, right?
It's because of their British ancestry.
Those Brits knew how to get turned. So. All right. Well, that's all I got. Just gonna stop there.
All right, let's go. Have a good one,
Have a
guys.
great day. little 17-minute. That would bother me if it was only 17 minutes. Like it has to be an even number at least,
Yeah,
20 or
let's get it
30.
to 20.
So
I'll just play the soundtrack until it's fun.
for 3.5 minutes and let it rock and roll.
I was about to say, if we want some entertainment value, Dan, why don't you break out that nose waxing kit and we'll wait for the screams.
Yeah, it really doesn't hurt that bad. You would expect it to, but I think because it's not like one hair at a time, it's like fucking 20.
Oh, it's pulling on everything at the
I
same
guess,
time.
yeah, it just kind of distributes the funk, and it
Did
doesn't hurt that bad. Because I have pulled like one hair before, and the tears start, and you're like, oh, but yeah, it's not that bad.
did you guys watch that
Yeah, I
Alex
want to
Jones
see.
trial?
No,
No, what was up with that one?
So they're trying him for defamation against the Sandy Hook families because he just ran around saying, it didn't happen, and that all the parents were lying. But during the trial, it's like it just kept becoming obvious he doesn't know how a court trial works. And his lawyer also apparently doesn't know. Like his lawyer accidentally sent the prosecution all of Alex Jones's like text messages and stuff.
was it accidental or was the dude like, I can't fucking do this anymore?
Well,
Click.
then the defense was like, we asked him, if this was privileged information, and if we could use it, and they didn't respond in the required 10 days. So here they all are,
Yeah.
and they were just incriminating
Yeah, that dude's gonna write a
stuff.
book in 20 years where he just realized, halfway through, like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like,
So it's
fuck this
just
guy.
two prosecutors basically.
Jesus Christ.
But
Yeah, I
anytime they would
think.
ask him a question, he would be like, "Well, I mean," they're like, "Did you say this thing?" He's like, well, many people say that, and then the reason they say, and they're like, "No, no, 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 Mr. Jones, you can't say many people say that. That's called hearsay. You have to tell us what you said." And he just kept
Jesus.
trying to do like the Trump playbook thing, where he would just ramble on about nothing, and they wouldn't let him do it. And he was getting very mad.
He is such a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
completely agreed.
I mean,
The jury awarded him like 4.1 million, but they were suing for 150. But while all of this was bullshit was going on, he was making 50 million bucks a year selling bullshit.
Oh yeah, supplements and water filters and shit.
oh, yeah. And that stuff, I mean, look, everybody that peddles that stuff, about 50 fucking percent of it's just complete trash. But the things that came out of his mouth are what fucking irritate me.
Yeah.
Just, it's like, and then they, my, and you guys have heard me rant about this, the whole thing about freedom of speech. People are like, I can say whatever I want because freedom of speech. It's like, you clearly do not understand what the First Amendment says when, and you make it clear that you don't when you say that, right? And we may have talked about this before. First Amendment basically says that you can't be, your government basically can't throw you in a dark fucking hole because of shit you say.
Yeah, you can't get in trouble from the federal government for saying anything,
Right.
which
But
is the case all the time. The federal government never
no,
comes after
exactly.
anyone for saying anything.
No.
Private
But when
parties come after each other for saying things.
Case in point. Not entirely true, because free speech is the First Amendment is designed to protect against political speech. But as far as from the federal government perspective, if you say if you just decide to get on Twitter, Facebook, or whatever else, and you say, I
right.
do not like the current president and I am going to kill them.
That's a little different. That's not
That,
freedom of speech. That's a threat.
Yeah, that's assault.
well,
Yeah, you're
yeah,
making a threat at that point,
A
and that's
threat
not freedom
actually
of
counts
speech
as
anymore.
assault most of the
it's
time.
Yeah,
it's still speech.
yeah, but it's not. That's
Yeah, that's the but. I mean,
that's like
because
saying that okay, I can go murder someone because I have freedom to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and it made me
no,
You're making me
happy
unhappy.
to kill
you
Adam.
then you could say you were exercising your Second Amendment rights, but
So-
you still face consequences for that.
right,
So you
but
cannot say just anything.
no, but you have the ability to. You still have freedom of speech, and I'm all about freedom of speech, and I'm all about people saying whatever the fuck they want. But
I'm not.
I also believe that you are going to take whatever responsibility and accountability for the words that you say. You can say whatever you want. I don't care. But I also believe that if a company says, I don't want to serve anyone who's brunette, okay, don't. I'm not going to force you. I'm also not going to patronize your business. And I promise you a lot of other people aren't. I'm not going to set rules. I don't think that we should set rules and regulations on people's behavior like in that aspect. But you better fucking believe that I'm all about holding people accountable
I
for what
really
they say
like
and what
freedom
they
of
do.
speech
Hmm?
because I like freedom of speech because if like for instance like you take it to the extreme where like everyone can only say 5 phrases and like that's all they can say,
Hmm.
you would never know who the dipshits are. You would never know who the fucking morons are, who the people that you like and dislike are.
Well, and that was one of the things I said when Trump was elected. Um, and I want to clarify, I'm not a Biden fan. I'm really not a fan of either party. Um, I think they're all fucking morons. I just love it when I say something against Trump. Oh, you're fucking Biden. And then if I say something bad about Biden, oh, you fucking want to suck Trump's dick? It's like, see, that is a perfect example of what
When
the
you can't
fuck's wrong.
defend somebody, so you have to attack someone else, there's a problem there.
That's exactly. But when Trump was, when all that was going down, that gave a certain type of person the idea that they could say and do whatever the fuck they wanted. And I, for one, appreciated that because I learned a lot about people that I had known for a while and did not realize certain things about them. Um, you guys remember when I had the big long beard, right? I'd wear the leathers and I'd ride the motorcycle and I'd go places and people would just walk up to me and say things, dude. People would just walk up to me and fucking say things that they had never said to me before. And I would just stand there in awe. Like I couldn't really retaliate or tell them they're a fucking moron because it was them and 10 of their friends all
Yeah, you're
standing there
surrounded by
staring
morons.
at me, right? So I'd just be like, huh. And I'd take a drink of my fucking whiskey and walk away. Like that's all I could do. Um, but it definitely brought out the fucking morons, and it made me realize that there were some folks out there I didn't realize exactly where they stood. And I saw something the other day on online. It was an ad for this Democrat here in Colorado, and the back of his bus, it was called the Beat Beat Bobert bus, right?
Oh, that had to be the dude that made the shit commercial. That had to be him.
It might have been. I know what you're talking about, and it might have been. And right there, immediately, I don't like the guy, right? And people say, why? And they're like, Bobert's an idiot. Oh, I don't disagree in any way, shape, or form. And you, the three of us have talked about this. But when your platform, when the only thing that you can stand on is that the other guy sucks, you've got nothing, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
if your whole fucking platform is beat Bobert, you got nothing.
What are you gonna do after you win?
You might be just as shitty as she is, for all I know. That would be so fucking hard. But still, her and Marjorie Taylor Greene, that bitch, like, wow, she blows my mind more and more every goddamn day. But
They're living in their own fantasy land, man, and that's kind of what I have a problem with, when people make up their own reality and expect everyone else to live in it.
yeah, and it's happening more and more. And I was reading this article about politics, and they were talking about how when you see this divisiveness, like when the extremes, when the parties are going super extreme in the opposite directions, they listed several civilizations over the last like fucking 10,000, 5,000 years that had fallen, Rome being one of them. And they talked about how that is typically a precursor to it, when the middle disappears and the right and the left get further and further away from each other, polarized away from each other. And this guy was basically saying, we're seeing it in the US now and other countries as well, but he was kind of focused on the US. And it was a really interesting take on it. I didn't know that about these other civilizations, but it makes sense when I can't have conversations with people about politics anymore. You can't do it, because if they don't agree with you wholeheartedly and completely, they lose their fucking minds.
Yeah, and
And I'm like,
We've
fuck,
lost
okay.
the nuance.
There is no nuance anymore.
the disturbing thing about that to me is it seems like we have forgotten all the lessons that the world learned during World War II.
Dude, people don't even remember World War II. Like, I know that's really hard to fucking believe, but I was watching a
I
thing
definitely
on
don't
YouTube.
remember it.
Huh?
I definitely
Yeah,
don't remember it.
none of
Well,
us
you know what
do.
I mean. Like that there are people that don't understand anything about it. Like, they knew it happened, and that's it. Zip. They were
They
walking.
probably know some Jews got murdered, and that was bad.
But they don't even. Some of them don't even know. They don't even know that. Like, they just know there was a war, but they know nothing about the details of it, and that's almost impossible for like you and me to comprehend, right? But they were doing this thing. They like I don't remember if they went to a school or what, but they were talking to kids about World War II, and none of them had a fucking clue. And so they went to like a college, and a very small percentage of them knew. And this is a fucking college, man. Like, like higher
Yeah.
education and shit.
Well, the
And
thing that
people knew
scares
that
me,
Hitler existed, and that was it.
yeah, the thing that scares me the most about that is, Dan, our generation, for the most part, our grandparents would have fought in World
In
War
World
II.
War II, sure, yeah.
So we still had some connection to that.
A
And the thing
generational
that blows my mind is how so many Gen Xers are just buying into propaganda, regardless of
Mhm.
who it comes from,
Mhm.
just left and right, and they're just eating it up. And it's obviously tailored to push a certain viewpoint, and it's insane how
Well,
many people are swallowing it.
and here's why I think that happens. I think because we're getting to that age where, to some degree, we'll call it becoming obsolete, right? We're not into the trends anymore. The music and the culture is moving past us. It's not made for us anymore. and we start to feel scared and disenfranchised from what's happening. And we're getting to that age of back in my day, right? And I know that doesn't necessarily stand for like me and you, for instance, but I'm saying that as a generalized whole, that we're getting to that back in my day, and you yearn for you're yearning for something, and a lot of this propaganda seemingly promises to get back to that, right? When we were the Cold War and we were the world power, and there was this very clear line that, America good, Russia bad, that kind of thing. I think, and again, this comes from getting older, is that whole, life was simpler back in my day. And it was. When I was 10 years old, life was pretty fucking simple. And what's funny though is 100 years from now, right? Several generations will be like, back in my day when we actually left our, protein pod, life was simpler.
When we logged out of VR once in a while.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a psychology thing. It's that the generation that is getting older, out of touch. We don't understand kids these days. We don't understand, the new fads and the new trends and things like that. And again, like I said, you and I
That's
are a
been
little bit.
happening perpetually since the beginning of time.
Absolutely, it has. Absolutely. And if you go back and you look at the propaganda and the whole that kind of thing, it always tends to target, I think, that generation that's sort of obsolete and sunsetting a little bit. And I know that's hard to hear. I'm 40. I'll be 47 next month, but in the grand scheme of things, I think after about 30, you kind of you're getting a little bit you start that you're if it was a race at 30, that's when you past 30 is when you start to fall behind a little bit, and then you get to a certain age where like, you guys go on. I'll be there when I get there. I think, but again, like I said, I think some of us are different. I will probably stay up on pop culture and trends and things like that most of my life. And I know guys that are in their 70s that can fucking rock Python and Java and, but that's not the norm, right? Most 70-year-olds can barely use a computer or a phone. But some people like me, I dig technology, so I stay up on it. And then that kind of keeps me up to date with what's going on. But I personally think that's why. And I think it's always targeted at that group. And then if you look too, I think
that's technical, not social.
But I think nowadays it's kind of one and the same, because social and pop culture now is fed through technology. It used to just, you had a TV in your house or a radio, and if you knew how to turn it on and turn it to a dial, you know what I mean? Like that, you'd get media into your house, and there was much, much less of it. Maybe a newspaper too. But nowadays there's, social media and YouTube and fucking streaming channels, and there's so much out there. So I think to stay somewhat relevant and up to date with things, technology plays a much bigger role in that than it did, 30, 40 years ago when we was little chitlins. So, and a lot of that propaganda is pushed towards rural areas. And, all three of us are from rural areas. So I feel like it's okay for me to say that the majority of those folks are not exactly worldly.
No. Wait, hang on. My family wasn't like a king and queen, and like we didn't live in a castle. Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, but
just never takes the high road, does he? He just never.
No, never. It's impossible for him. But it's a lot easier to feed bullshit to a group of people who are more isolated from society.
Absolutely.
And we've had this discussion before about look at a red map, blue map,
mm-hmm.
and you'll see blue in cities, and then the rest of the state will be fucking red. And
Mm-hmm.
like 75% of the population will live in around whatever the cities. And that's how you have, places like California where population density, where it's high, you tend to have a lot of democratic areas, and you've got people that are getting exposed to different religions, different races, the whole nine
Mm-hmm.
yards. And it's a lot harder to get them to believe that certain groups of people are the boogeymen.
Right. Or just inherently
Things
bad
suck
because they
because of
exist.
these people,
Right. Right.
and it's easy to have, point at something and say, oh, that's the reason why everything sucks. That's the bad guy. These are the
Mm-hmm.
bad people.
Mm-hmm.
They have the bad ideas, the whole nine yards. But, if you get in a metropolitan area, a lot of the veil of bullshit kind of gets peeled back a little bit.
And for me, I grew up making racial jokes, racial slurs. Um, that was just kind of par for the course, and I didn't think much of it. Um, and then as I'm moving to Columbus, Ohio was huge for me because we lived like a block off of campus. And I was in bands, so we played a lot of bars and a lot of clubs, and I met a ton of fucking college students that way. Ton of fucking people my age, right? And they were from all over the world, all over the United States. And so I met Muslims, and I met Buddhists, and I met black people, red people, brown people, whatever. And then I know I've told you guys this story of when we moved down to Alabama, and I was in the store, and I was standing there kind of spaced out. And my ex-wife's like, "Hey, you all right?" And just I just blurted out because I'm me. I was like, yeah, there's just so many black people down here. And she's like, baby, and I'm like, no, not like that. Just like, because and I think those areas still census data wise are probably predominantly white, but there is a larger concentration of black people in the South for reasons I think most anyone listening to this would understand. And that was new to me because I just had never seen that concentration, when I worked in the field, and I would go into our tech room and I'd sit down. I might be one of 3 white guys amongst 40 black guys. And you just, the funny thing about the South is everybody talks about racism in the South. And I can assure you that racism in the North was just as fucking potent, pertinent, and there, right? Maybe more so. Because the one thing that I noticed in the South when I lived there, maybe not my generation, certainly not the generation before me, I could tell you some fucking stories, but the teenagers when I was there, it's like 2010ish. Um, the teenagers, like black, white, everybody just hung out. Like you didn't see the racism like people think of in the South with the younger generations. And my personal opinion is because they've just grown up together. They've gone to high school together. They've played football together. They've just been around each other. Now, how their parents feel or how their grandparents or great grandparents feel, that's a different story. Because, like I said, I heard and saw some incredible things, but it wasn't any different than the shit that I listened to or saw in when I lived in Northeast Ohio. So
Yeah.
I think the South kind of gets a bad rap
Well, it's
currently
migrated.
for it.
It,
Well,
it,
sure, right,
it
yeah,
it's changed.
yeah,
What you see in the South now is, and this may be the case in other places as well, where politics has taken the stand in for racism
sure, yeah,
to where, if, he may be a different, this person may be a different color, but as long as he's playing for the same team that I am,
right.
he's okay.
As long as
And
he's
if
still
they're
going to vote
playing,
for me,
yeah, if they're playing for the other team, they're one of the bad ones.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah. And again, I remember when Muslims were the boogeyman for a long time, and I know a few personally, and honestly, I would trust them just as much as I would anybody else. They, especially if they're devout, because they have a lot of rules in their religion about being good people, just like Christians are supposed to be. Um, and I used to tell people, man, I used to get into arguments over this. because they'd say, no, all Muslims want to fucking kill white people. And I'm like, no, they really don't. Like that's really not their thing. That's not what they're supposed to do. And I would compare the jihadists, blowing up building Muslims to the Westboro Baptist Church. And I'd say, okay, well, if that's okay, you're a Christian, right? Hell yeah, I am. Jesus, love him to death. And I'd say, okay, but based on the Westboro Baptist Church, no, that's different. That's different. Well, is it though? I mean, just saying. And that would,
No, it's not the same thing.
it's not the same thing, right?
It's about
And
them.
man, that would start some fantastic fucking fights. And if there is one thing that to this day, like I've mellowed out so much from the time I was a teenager, young adult, 30 something. I have mellowed out so much. Like when people want to start arguments and discussions and fights and shit, I'm just like, just walk away. Religion is still one that will light me up from time to time, depending on the conversation. And typically it's when somebody who is a self-proclaimed Christian wants to talk about how being a Christian makes them so much better than everyone else. And I'm like, wow, that kind of goes completely against the teachings of everything you're claiming to, fucking believe in. But that's fine. I like to remind people that as an atheist, I don't do shitty things because I don't think doing shitty things is nice or kind or, appropriate. I'm not afraid of going to hell. I'm not trying to get into heaven. I don't believe in either one of them. I do believe in good and evil. I just don't believe that there's places that are, comprised of either or, and that I'm going to go there when I die.
I only believe in 12.5% of the Bible.
Only 12.5%?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I'm an atheist.
Wah, wah, wah. Give yourself crickets. Give yourself crickets now.
Because I'm an atheist.
Dude, I'm going to get some patches that say 12.5%. I'm getting a decal on my fucking Jeep that says 12.5%. Just waiting for a motherfucker. The hell's that mean? I'm an atheist. It's funny when someone just about strokes out after they say it. That's God damn it, Adam. That was so bad it was funny.
Yes, you're welcome.
I gotta. Can you put that into decimal? What's the decimal of that? What's the decimal of 12.5%, Doug?
0.125.
God damn it, Doug.
Dan.
Yeah, math is not that hard.
It really is. It changes all the time. There's no consistency with it. It just does what it wants all the time.
Percentages are all power of 10. All you got to do is move your decimal.
That's not true, and that's not true. You're making this shit up because you're part of the Illuminati.
No, he didn't make it up. Thomas Math created it.
Thomas Math.
Good old Gary Math. That's and his wife Wilma. So, what do you want, Kat? Yeah? You want to be on the podcast? What do you want to say to the world? That's disgusting.
Was it something about
we can't
pussy?
air that.
You can't hear that?
No, we can't air that.
Oh, we can't air that. We can't hear that. No.
I thought you were going to go anchor man and everything. It's like, hey, not in Spanish.
You just think you can come in here speaking cat? Bitch is 18 years old, blind as a bat, arthritic, but she still purrs like a well-tuned lawnmower, and that tail never stops. So
she's rumbling.
Adam was like, when I went camping in Uray, he watched her for me, and I'd hit him up every now and again and ask how she's doing, and he's like, she's very rumbly. I was like, good, that's a good sign. So it's if she stops rumbling completely, that's a bad sign. So yeah, she's the last of her fucking brood, man. We had 3 dogs and her at one point. She was kind of queen of the mansion, and she's the last of them.
The old bitch that won't die.
Pretty much, dude. I used to joke that she was going to try to outlive me, and now with the Adam and I were discussing because at one point I think she may have had a stroke. Um, when she started acting weird, I took her to the emergency vet, and they had her for hours, and I think I spent about $1,000 on tests, and they said they found a protein or something in her blood that indicated like muscle deterioration or something, but not anything. It wasn't so high that they were worried about it. Other than that, they're like, she's healthy as a fucking horse, dude. Like her blood, everything came back. She's healthy as a horse. And I'm like, man, she just wouldn't stop throwing up, and she's like being weird. A couple weeks later, I noticed we were doing something, and we were by the window, and there was a bunch of light coming in, and she was staring at me, and her eyes were just as big as saucers. And anybody who has a cat knows that most of the time they're just the slit, what you'd think
And
of
then
as
you
a
realize she accidentally got into your tabs of acid.
and then she's never been the same since. She ate those mushrooms I was growing in the closet. So yeah, her pupils are, blown out, and she just walks into things, chairs, walls, just whatever. And if you move anything, she'll yell at you for 20 minutes about it. And
Yeah, she had just figured out where everything was.
where everything was, had kind of memorized it, right? So it really started to look like she may have had a stroke at some point. But she's still ticking, man. It's kind of funny. But I think I've said this before, and I think I'm gonna truly put a moratorium on pets after she's gone. It's if you don't have pets, if you've never had pets, I'm not saying don't get one. I'm just saying that like dogs and cats. Um, I mean, I guess if you got like a bird or a fish, it'd be different. But dogs and cats, especially, they're a lot of work, man. They're a lot of work, and if you're not going to be a piece of shit, they're a lot of responsibility. And as Doug can tell you, it can also be a lot of money, depending on what goes down.
Oh yeah,
So
I could have bought a new Harley.
that's what I told people when between the Shih Tzu and the German Shepherd, I legit could have bought a Kia. So it was like, fuck, dude.
Yeah, but dogs are cooler, so.
I don't know, man. I dig my cat. She's cool as fuck.
No, but I mean better than a car.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah. If you were like, hey, I'll give you a new car or this cool dog, well, I'd probably take the car these days. But if somebody were to say,
tried.
hey,
You tried.
your dog can live, or I'll give you this new car, first I'd smack him in the mouth for even, suggesting that. And then I'd be like, dude, I'm going to take my dog, bastard. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a lot of responsibility. And I see people all the time. I've talked quite a few people out of pets, and that would probably come to a surprise to some people, thinking that, because of how much I like animals, and I love animals. And that's the thing, is that I don't want to see a dog or a cat run into a shitty situation, and I've seen it. Doug worked in the field like I did in telecom, and part of our job was to go into people's homes. And I can tell you, I've seen some shitty situations with dogs and cats where they just simply were not taken care of, appropriately. and again, I'm sure Doug's got some stories too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh yeah.
and it's
What was the address? I'm just kidding.
Right, yeah, exactly. I can neither confirm nor deny whether or not I've ever called animal services on anybody. So, which was not against our corporate policy. So, that and child
You
porn.
sound like me now. Technically, I can do this.
Technically, actually, I can do this.
It's
Yeah. There were a group of chained up pit bulls that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember pit bulls. Honestly, I think pit bulls were probably one of the most abused animals that I saw in the years that I was in the field. And that's exactly what it was. Usually chained up to something. I remember crawling under a trailer one night, walked right into the most beautiful blue nose I've ever seen in my life. And he came crawling out from under, and his head was the only thing that had any size to it. Everything else was skin
so
wrapped
sad.
around fucking bone, dragging a chain. And I sat there on the side. His water bowl had dirt a half inch thick in it, and I sat at my work vehicle, and I cut open bottles of water and was feeding them to him. And he drank like, I don't know, 2, 3 20-ounce bottles of that Sam's Club magic water that they have. Fuck, love that stuff.
Is that what it's called?
Oh, it's so good.
Magic
No,
water.
it's just their
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
like
Sam's Club
Sam's
water.
Choice.
Yeah, Sam's Choice. But dude, it's got electrolytes in it or something.
It's got
That's
what
what
plants
pit bulls
crave.
Wow. And it's really good. But yeah, I fed that dog 2 or 3 bottles of that. And I'm not gonna lie, man, there was a moment where I very seriously thought about putting that dog in the work vehicle, taking the chain and tossing it back up under the trailer, thinking it would be a day or two before anyone noticed that I was gonna like cut the collar with my knife and just toss it all up under there like he fucking chewed through it. I don't know. These people weren't the brightest. But their
obviously.
trailer was surrounded by dogs on chains to trees or boxes or whatever. And all of them, except for this pit bull, were, at the end of their chain trying to get to me the entire time. Dirty, malnourished. And I just wanted to set the trailer on fire with the doors locked.
With the people in it.
With the people in it. Yeah, sorry. I should have, right. I thought that was, with the people in it.
Just making sure
Yeah,
that people know
understood.
that he wasn't saying he was going to set the dogs on fire.
No. I'd cut them loose. I'd cut them loose right before setting it on fire and listening to fucking Wilma and fucking Edgar, brother, sister, mother, father, husband, wife, whatever the fuck they were. It was sad, man. There was a lot of really
same
shitty
situation
things
with kids too. But,
oh, absolutely, dude. Jesus Christ.
But one thing that I learned in the field, I learned a lot of dog behavior, and it seems, it's like I don't have an official degree or anything, but it seemed like the smaller territory that you gave any dog, the more defensive they became of that small patch of earth that they had. And that's what was the meanest thing to me about the chained up pit bulls. It's like you've already got a breed that it looks like it does steroids and works out at the gym
right
in its
the
spare
Arnold
time.
Schwarzenegger dog.
And then you put it in the shittiest situation that you can give it.
Yeah.
And then people act shocked when the dog acts mean. Well, you gave it all the ingredients for that.
And that was the interesting. I had the same kind of observation, and that's why I said that the pit bull was probably the number one dog that I saw abused in that fashion. Kind of psychologically abused as much, like you said, just a small 5-6 foot chain, dirt, and right. And you're taking a dog that's one of the most powerful dogs, I think, as far as like bite and shoulders.
Like PSI, it's like
their PSI is something near like a fucking crocodile or some shit.
Yeah.
And you're psychologically abusing it, and then something bad happens and people are like, the dog. Dude, I've been around so many pit bulls that were just the biggest, sweetest babies. I personally have never had a experience with one that was negative like that, unless, and even with extenuating circumstances. There were a few that I was like, shit, I ain't going anywhere near that motherfucker.
Over time, my mind's kind of changed on that. I used to just like, obviously, if you mistreat it, it's going to be a fucking raging asshole. But I think, I saw or something happened in like my hometown, and like I knew that the owners were like good people, and their pit bull just like attacked this child. And I think it's just like the problem is that they're so fucking strong that like when they get confused into being threatened, like you can't fucking stop them.
They're kind of like Lenny from of Mice and Men.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that is true. Because I've always said the angriest dogs that I've ever met in my life were all small, Chihuahuas,
Chihuahuas are the
Boston
fucking worst.
Terriers,
Yeah.
Shit like that. And again, I've been into hundreds and hundreds, well, actually thousands of fucking homes over the years. And I got nipped more times by little dogs. And then, the Great Danes would come by and look at you like, and then just keep walking. Like they didn't give a fuck because they knew they could kill you. But I honestly think that's why one of the reasons, like your Pits, Dobermans, German Shepherds, Chows, I think that's one of the reasons those dogs have gotten the bad rap is that they are strong and they are powerful. So when they do something, there's damage done.
It's like the nuclear power plant that almost never melts down.
Right, exactly. But we were talking about that, nuclear power is actually pretty fucking safe. But when it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And dogs can be that way as well. It's like if you've got a breed, a pit bull, if you've got a German Shepherd, if you've got any of the above, they may be a great dog, but you have to understand, that dog can be a weapon with a personality. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. They're still a dog, right? I tell people that all the time. My dogs have always been very disciplined, listened very well. I was actually just talking to a friend of mine last night. She is a certified dog trainer, and we were discussing, kind of like instinct. She's got a dog that's very well, trained. And I was talking about my dog Parker and about how very obedient he was, typically just snap my fingers and he'd stop doing whatever he was doing, unless a rodent was involved. If a rabbit jumped, it was 50-50 as to whether or not I could stop him. Eventually he would stop, but that wasn't in any indicator that my dog wasn't well trained or disciplined. It's just, there's a fucking
He's an animal.
Grained chunk of brain in there somewhere from 10,000 years ago, right? I mean, it is what it is. And the thing is that, like, I was watching a video. There was one that went around social media, and it's this giant pit bull, and then they've got on his back on a couch, and they've got a fucking newborn baby plopped, like draped over his belly and his chest. And I remember thinking, that's a terrible fucking idea. And not because it was a pit bull, but because it's a dog. A doorbell or a cheese wrapper opens and that fucking kid is getting catapulted. Right? That's simple. So
I had a pretty chill dog snap at me when I was a child, very close to my face. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's an animal. I need to stop fucking with it.
I've got a scar in my throat. You can't really see it, but on the sides of my nose, where the nose kind of attaches to your cheeks, I've got these lumps, and it's where my sister's Doberman attacked me, and it was completely unprovoked. We were just standing there, and dude just like punched me in the fucking throat with his teeth, and but it never changed my opinion on Dobermans. I still love them. I love dogs in general. It just. It never really fazed me. So because it was that dog, it's just like, some people are fucking assholes. I sometimes wish that we could have people restrictions in apartments and certain places.
That would be nice.
That's my platform for 2024. I'm going to have people restrictions. No assholes.
You're gonna have a 100% discrimination policy at the apartment.
Absolutely, against assholes.
Yeah,
no assholes.
Discriminate against fucking dick bags. We're gonna ask your other apartment neighbor if you were loud.
Are you right? Are you a dick bag?
Is your neighbor a fucking asshole?
Then vote for me.
Play us out.